Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for my top 5 favorite comic books of the week. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin Robbie Billups. This is my top 5 favorite comic books of the week. Out of everything that dropped this week for New Comic Book Day, these are my top 5 favorite books, not a spec list, just the stuff I enjoyed. Let's get into it. At number 5, Batman Superman, World's Finest, number 1, from DC Comics. Written by Mark Waid, with artwork by Dan Mora, coloring by Tamara Bonvillain, lettering by Aditya Bidikar. So I've been looking forward to this book. I'm a big fan of Mark Waid, huge fan of Dan Mora, big fan of Bidikar and Bonvillain, so it's a really solid team doing what is solicited to be a classic vibing kind of Superman-Batman book, right? Batman-Superman teaming up, it's the world's finest, and just like you can expect with Mark Waid, it does kind of take a more classic approach, right? The only problem with the story is I do think that they tried to force too much into the first issue. We get appearances not just from Batman and Superman, but Metallo, Poison Ivy, Robin, 2 Robins, maybe the same Robin, who knows? And as well as all that, you got the Doom Patrol. So it's a bit overstuffed as far as story goes. I would have liked something a little bit more streamlined, but it was still very classic feeling, and I really appreciated that one. The reason why it's on this list is because of that artwork. Dan Mora doing amazing line work, dynamic perspectives and angles and layouts, really great composition throughout, just kept that energy up. Even though the script maybe could have held it back, the artwork really pops and it really shines. Tamara Bonvillain's able to take a classic, brighter color palette and make it work, make it pop. Tamara Bonvillain, she is one of the best colorists in the business. Just look at her work on Once and Future. This is something different, but still within what she is known for doing. And Bidikar doing a really great job of just doing solid, modern-day superhero comic book lettering, not stretching too far, but doing it better than almost anybody else. At number 4, Heavy Metal Drummer, number 2, from Behemoth. Written by Kiefer Vindlow and Emiliano Pliskin, with artwork and coloring by Luca Vassallo, lettering by Omar Estevez. Heavy Metal Drummer is definitely something out there. It's something interesting, it's something weird, it's quirky, and it's ridiculously awesome. 100%. I was blown away by the first issue. The second issue, I think, took a little bit of a step down, didn't quite get as much accomplished, but it still did exactly what it was set out to do. This is about an alien race trying to infect Earth through... It's really hard to describe, but let's just say they somehow use human semen to infect sewer rats, who infect cats, who infect old cat ladies, who become sex workers, who then infect men, and it's just this cycle. It's wild, it's rambunctious. I love the artwork. It's got a really great psychedelic vibe to it at times, especially with the coloring. Everything about it works. A little bit smaller than your typical size comic book, but it pops and it works, and it's really cool. If you like something out there, if you want weird stretching in your comic book, I mean, basically what happens is that one dude, a heavy metal drummer, he somehow gets taken over by this consciousness, some kind of entity or entities that lead him to being able to take out these aliens, and it is wild, it's trippy, it's crazy fun, and if you're not easily offended, if you like something raunchy, crude, irreverent, subversive, but at the same time delivering something really aesthetically pleasing in an underground alternative type style, you definitely want to check this one out. At number 3, we have The Crimson Cage, issue number 4 from AWA Upshot. Written by John Lees, with artwork by Alex Cormack, coloring by Ashley Cormack, lettering by Hassan Otsman El Howe. Yo, The Crimson Cage might just be my favorite AWA Upshot book to date. I adore this book. I'm a big fan of John Lees. We know him from Hotel. We know him from Mountainhead and other works. And we know Alex Cormack from fantastic works such as Road of Bones, Sink, and Sea of Sorrows. And of course, John Lee's also the writer of the aforementioned Sink. This book blows me away. It's the story Macbeth, but told through the lens of territorial wrestling in the 1980s. So it's about a dude who has to become champion, but in order to do that, he has to kill the former champion. Then he's got all this paranoia, all this suspicion, all this madness that starts rising up in him and his queen. We're getting a little bit more focusing on her character here. There's some really gnarly moments. The artwork gets deep and it gets dark. It's bloody, it's wild, and it shows the wild nature of this story and the wild nature of the psychological effect of what is going on to these two individuals. Plus, if you're a wrestling fan, you got tons of little Easter eggs there. John Lees is a huge fan of wrestling, and that definitely comes across. But it also goes to show you that Shakespeare does do stories that work in almost any kind of a way. It's like a Batman. You could do Batman as a wrestler. You could do Batman as a Shakespearean type thing, right? I don't know why I'm talking about Batman, because Crimson Cage is absolutely amazing. I love the story. I love the frantic pace of it, but I love the deliberate nature of these moments, of these characters, of these decisions, how it starts unraveling, how we see and go about that journey with these characters. An amazing artwork, and seriously, the coloring is top-notch, highlighting what needs to be highlighted, but the lettering, Hassan Otsmane-Elhaou is 100% at the top of his game in this issue. Fantastic stuff. At number 2, The Silver Coin, issue number 10, from Image Comics. Written and illustrated by Michael Walsh, colored by Tony Marie Griffin and Michael Walsh, and there's also a prose short story at the end by Aditya Bidikar. The Silver Coin has been a really great horror anthology from Image Comics. Each and every single issue is illustrated by Michael Walsh, but each and every single issue has a different writer coming in telling a different story about a cursed silver coin that throughout the ages has come across the possession of many different people to many different effects, but all gnarly, all nasty, all horrific. Really great stuff. And then every 5 issues, Michael Walsh himself decides to take the reins of the writing and does a little bit of a mythology piece called Covenant, right? This is the second one we've gotten so far. Diving a little bit deeper. In the first Covenant, we dive deep into the origins of the silver coin. In this one, we kind of continue that story, but a little bit more in a modern day setting. We're still referencing all that stuff, and I loved the way that this came together. I loved the way that this worked. Michael Walsh doesn't need all of these fantastic creators to come in and do their stories, because apparently he's got a handle on this world and the voice of the world and tone of the silver coin itself. This is absolutely amazing. I love this book. Not every single issue is a winner. The last one, for instance, number 9, I didn't really dig on that one, but overall there's more great issues than there are bad or indifferent issues. This is one of those fantastic issues, especially if you want to dive deeper into that mythology. I love the spotting of blacks. I love that composition. It's able to carry the atmosphere, the tone, the setting, everything. I like the introduction of new characters that we will probably only see for this one single issue, but instantaneously I'm compelled, I'm engaged, I'm into the story, I'm into the vibe, and if you've been loving Silver Coin, there's no reason why you are not going to totally love this issue. And at number 1, Homesick Pilots number 13 from Image Comics. Written by Dan Waters with artwork by Casper Wingard, lettering by Aditya Bidikar, designed by Tom Mueller. Homesick Pilots has been an absolutely fantastic book, and just like I said when I was talking about it on the weekly comic book review this week, it defies expectations, it defies explanation. This is an amazing book that's kind of like a ghost story, but it's also a story about youth culture and punk rock, and it's also a story about giant mech fights, right? But what if the mechs, instead of giant robots, were a haunted house that could get up and move, powered by the trauma of the ghosts within it? How can we take that trauma? How can we weaponize that as a government, right? Because the military-industrial complex wants to get in on this, but also B, how can we control and manipulate this trauma for our own deeds, for our own purpose, right? This is a really great book that has a lot of subtext that is expertly paced throughout. And now that we're nearing the end game of this story, you can see all these pieces starting to come together. This is an incredibly revelatory issue that didn't get bogged down in exposition, and a big part of that is the amazing artwork from Caspar Wijngaard. Caspar has pumped out some of the absolute best artwork of his career in the pages of Homesick Pilots, and I think some of his best work on this series is in issue number 13. Because as the action, as the drama ramps up, that artwork takes a edgy, chaotic, almost vocal, almost audible type approach to delivering the amplification of the story, of that tension, of that drama, leading us into what is going to develop into the ending of Homesick Pilots. This has been an amazing, amazing book. Poetic, literary language and narrative being used. Super freaking fantastic, cutting-edge artwork, great top-notch lettering from Aditya Bidikar, and the design. The characters ring true, the story's amping up, the artwork is superb, and to me, that's the pick of the week. That's my number one here on Rockin Robbie's Top 5. Anyway, what are you reading? What are you digging? What are your top 5 favorite comic books of the week? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and check us out at patreon.com/PCP if you want to help support the channel. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading. Station. Pop, pop, boom.